Dead by Daylight players fall into three categories: the salty survivor, the killer main who refuses to touch survivor, and the rare mythical neutral player who somehow enjoys both sides. If you play Dead by Daylight, I promise you, you are one of these.
Now watching range rifle.
Alright, so the first type of player that the DBD community has is a salty survivor. This player believes in one thing and one thing only: if I don't escape, the killer is toxic. With these type of players, you hook them once, just once, and suddenly it's tunneler. Oh, you're a camper. Oh, bro's a tryhard, has no life. Oh, bro has no skill, so he has to tunnel me. This is the same survivor that body blocks hook, clicks their flashlight, and teabags at every pallet at every moment they can. But the second they get outplayed, they are so quick to disconnect. And don't even get me started on endgame chat. They write full essays, things along the lines of, oh, you only won because you played Blight, you only won because you tunneled, you only won because you breathed. Meanwhile, the killer hooked 12 different times and never camped once. And the only reason he tunneled you is because you're healing right under the hook, bro. Come on. Tee up, bro. Tee up. Enough said about those survivors. Type 2, the killer main who never plays survivor, bro. Now let's talk about this specific killer main. This is a player with 3,000 hours in Dead by Daylight. Even a cool like 100, 50, don't matter. But out of those 3,000 hours, 2,950 hours are killer. They have never touched survivor since 2021, bro. But they will confidently tell you in every argument, survivor is easy. They think every survivor perk is broken. Dead hard, broken. Windows, broken. Adrenaline, broken. Hope, somehow broken. These are also the same type of killers that at 4 minutes into the match, they'll say, why are gens done in 3 minutes? Brother, you chased one survivor around Shack for 4 minutes, dog. Come on, tee up, bro. They refuse to queue up to survivor because it's quote unquote boring, and every time they lose, their excuse is always gen rush meta, survivor sided game, and behavior hates killers. Now I won't lie, I'm one of these killers, so I'm speaking on myself. All right, I'm speaking on myself, trust me. I've been this killer before. Now, I'm not as toxic or excuse making killer as I was before, but I still think to this day that behavior hates killers just a little, bro. But that's just me though. That's just me. Anyways, people who play like this will say, oh, behavior hates killers, survivor sided game, gen rush meta. Meanwhile, they brought 4 slowdown perks. Honestly, bro, just gotta get better at the game. Or try a different build, see what works out for you, bro. Or just switch your killer in general. I mean, come on. Also, look, if you're one of the 2 types that I just named right now, you just gotta remember, bro. Dead by Daylight is asymmetrical. 4 survivors, 1 killer. That alone creates tension. In a normal competitive game, both sides play by the same rules. And Dead by Daylight, they kinda don't. The killer controls pressure, so survivors control time. The killer feels stressed trying to stop 4 people at once. Survivors feel stressed because one mistake can remove them from the game entirely. And when both sides feel pressure in different ways, they both think the other side has it easier. That's where the divide starts. One of the biggest reasons the community fights is perception. When you play survivor and get tunneled out at 5 gens, it feels unfair. But when you play killer and 3 gens pop in 2 minutes, that also feels unfair. Both experiences feel terrible, but they're happening in completely different contexts. As survivor, you see 1 killer. As killer, you see 4 survivors. Survivors remember the 1 match they got hard tunneled. Killers remember the 1 match they got destroyed by a coordinated team. And those emotional matches stick harder than normal games. So everyone builds their opinion off the worst experience. So then when you queue up into a new match, you just start finding excuses to blame that next killer on why they killed you because of the last one. Another reason why the community is divided is because most players don't play both roles equally. If you mostly play survivor, your understanding of a killer pressure is limited. If you mostly play killer, you might not understand how frustrating tunneling or camping feels from the survivor perspective. When you only experience half the game consistently, you start to believe your side is the one suffering more. And once that belief sets in, every balance change feels personal, bro. If a survivor perk gets nerfed, survivor mains say the game is killer sided. If a killer gets nerfed, killer mains say the game is survivor sided. It becomes identity instead of discussion. And back to the comment that I was saying about emotion, right? And how we're all dramatic. Dead by Daylight is not just mechanical. It's very based on emotion and what you do and how you feel and when you panic. As killer, you're alone. Every mistake is yours. As survivor, if you die early, you're forced to sit and watch. There's no instant respawn, no quick reset. When something goes wrong, it lingers, especially to your teammates or people you're on comms with. And because the matches are long and tense, frustration builds fast. Frustration usually doesn't end or disappear when the match ends. It goes to Twitter, it goes to Reddit, it goes to endgame chat, which honestly is one of the biggest downsides to Dead by Daylight. I mean, you'll have someone who just got onto the game wanting to play killer, doesn't really know how the game works or the concept of even knowing how it is to play killer yet, and yet you got a Sable at the end game chat calling this person a bunch of slurs, a bunch of things, that can make them not even play the game anymore. It's like, how is a community supposed to grow and someone get introduced to a new game if the community is just pure toxic, bro? The truth is, the Dead by Daylight community isn't always at war because one side is right and the other is wrong. It's because both sides experience the game differently. Killer feels overwhelmed, Survivor feels powerless, and those feelings clash. When you only see your frustration and not the other side's, it's easy to blame the other role instead of the design. So maybe the problem isn't that the game is Survivor-sided, or maybe it isn't Killer-sided either. Maybe Dead by Daylight is just high-pressure game that amplifies emotion. And the only players who really understand that are the ones who are playing both sides. Because once you've been tunneled out at 5 gens and you've also had 3 gens pop in 90 seconds, you really stop arguing and just start understanding like what I could do better, how to play better on both sides, and how to stop it from happening. And if it happens, oh well, just move on to the next match or queue up on Killer. Or if you get tired of Survivor, go to Killer. If you get tired of Killer, go to Survivor. You know what I mean? Let's move on to the final topic. The third and final type of player we have is the neutral player. The cool, the good player. The player everybody should be so that the DBD community can finally see some light. You know what I mean? This is the neutral. This player plays both sides. They understand tunneling feels bad. They understand gen rush feels bad. They understand that sometimes you just get outplayed, bro. That's fine. They don't rage. They don't type paragraphs like Sables do. They just say GG and see you in the next one. Legend says only 3% of DBD population has reached this form. Some of y'all still got a long way to go, bro. Trust me. Just make this game on fun, bro. Cause y'all go above and beyond with the endgame chat. And honestly, it gets a little annoying. Especially when you're just having fun as Killer and then at the end of the game, you think you didn't do anything toxic and the Sable just yaps your ear away about how bad you are and how you should get a life, bro. But it's like, you touch more grass than them. Now, I don't have anything against Sables, but it's a reoccurring thing, bro. Just saying. I hate Steve Harrington in the game, but honestly, I've never had a Steve Harrington character say anything after the match, but hey, that's just me. But anyways, back to the neutral player. When they get tunneled, they go, damn, that was unlucky. Time for the next match, which honestly makes them the best people to just play against, bro. Because there's no arguing, there's no back and forth. There's nothing that just ruins your mood a little bit. You know what I mean? Anyways, when they get gen rush, they go, damn, that was on me. Should have just brought a better build or perks. It's cool, bro. Just move on. They don't argue on Twitter, and they don't argue in endgame chat. Like I said, they just simply play the game. Just have fun. Or even play to win. You know what I mean? But if you don't win, it's cool, bro. It's not like you have a limited amount of matches every day to play. Anyways, though, look, I don't say this to get anybody mad. I don't say this to even target anybody specific. All I'm just saying is, if you realize that you're that salty survivor, or if you realize that you're that excuse-making killer main and never touches Survivor and never gets to see what it's like on the other side, become that neutral player, bro. That's what DBD needs right now. Because honestly, the game is a little shit. I think we could all agree on that. But anyways, like I was saying, again, sometimes the problem is that the salty survivor thinks they're neutral, the killer mains think they're neutral, but in reality, most of us just switch sides depending on what role we're playing. When we play Survivor, killers are toxic. When we play killers, survivors are toxic. Can't really make our mind up. That's why the DBD community is always at war. Honestly, I don't think we'll ever be at peace. It's just too deep into the rabbit hole. You know what I mean? The truth is, Dead by Daylight isn't survivor sided. It isn't killer sided. It's emotion sided. And we're all dramatic, bro. No one likes losing, and I get that. It's cool, so be honest. Let me know which one you are. Salty survivor, killer main, or the mythical neutral player. Comment down below. And if you say neutral, I'm watching you, bro. You're one of the biggest liars out there. Y'all let me know which one you are in the comments. Subscribe if you liked the video. Subscribe if you thought it was funny. Cool, whatever. But yeah, see you on the next.